Hey, how's y'all doing? Again, this is your host, the Whiteologist, Mr. Blows Your Minds, and welcome to another Black Minds News Report. First and foremost, I want to say what's good to my fam, my subscribers and my family. What's good, y'all, everybody? Today's date is September the 8th, 2020. I want to thank each and every one of you who are now about 30 clicking on the video, right? You know, they done put the shadow band on me. They done put the extra bands on me due to the simple fact that, again, I am the most hated show in the black corner of YouTube due to the simple fact that we tell it like it TI is. We put no ice. We add no sweetener. We give it to you straight. So first and foremost, I want to take my hat off to each and every one of you. Passerbys, we happen to pass by. This is the most hated show in the black corner of the internet. Been in the business since 2012. Ever since I made that video on April 1st of 2014, they decided we're going to make sure that this channel will never get off the ground. You get what I'm saying? And so we can go down the aisle. We always got a grand opening. Happen to see something to make you feel some kind of way. Remember that the motto of my show is the truth. Don't need no partner. Now, as I was saying, how YouTube and the administration and employees who I know you hearing me, can you believe that a channel that cannot get over 100 views seem to always be in the, it's like being in the principal office, and yet nobody seemed to be watching me other than the fact that it is you who's watching me, right? So obviously I'm sitting in your crawl, right? I'm all up inside you, all up in your membranes, right? Because why? That's what the truth do. The truth cuts in ways that are unfathomable even to the naked eye that one is sitting there and beholding. Because why? This is the vessel that is being used by that which you don't believe in. He does what he have to do. So anyway, so as a show for the day, I was doing some, looking for content, and I came across a particular story. Lately, there have been a lot of these stories in the news. And so I seen this particular story that is coming up out of, it's called Volusia County, Florida, right? And there was a situation that took place with a sheriff, and they seen a black man who seemed to have been MYOB, minding his own business. And somehow the story is going to be trying to make a situation that when black men are in this position, it's a life and death situation. But the way they want to depict it as if like, well, it's a figure of our imagination. You go to listen to people like Jason Whitlock and others and tell you that those who are advocating and protesting and talking about police reform and so forth, that statistically the numbers don't show of the alarm and concern that you're talking about. So you guys are exaggerating. When the simple fact of the matter is that we don't need no statistics to tell us about how we live on a daily. Now, just because you may get people who make a certain amount of money and have some kind of fame and popularity and use them as the apple in front of the horse and say, look how they live and why do they advocate when they don't live amongst you? But they also come from the same families that are affected. And when we talk about history and legislatively, the things that those who seem to be window shopping and looking outside the window and thinking that they could just imagine what it is to put on the clothes, and they're going to try to interpret what you really live, right? You live it. They only imagine, and then their perception about the people who program them, who have lied to them so much, you still, regardless to seeing the evidence and the facts right before your eyes, will still try to take the position that you're not wrong. So again, we got Volusia County, Florida. Supposed to be in a situation where the brother was out there jogging. goes back to, I think, August of 27th of 2020. And supposedly the situation is going to be derived from the fact that there was a so-called burglary that had been in progress, right? And based on this so-called burglary being in progress, what happened is that I guess an APB was put out, all police bulletin. And so they were in search of, according to what they say, a burglary suspect. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give you what they put out there, because they didn't really give a real good video, but I gave you so that you could get the gist of it. And then I'm going to go all into it even more. So check this out, and we shall be right back after this. Check this out. Check this out.
You're not in any trouble or anything? There is a burglary that happened. You kind of fit the description. Let me just make sure that you're not him, okay? All right.
I'm a vet. I have my ID.
Okay. Can I see your ID? Yeah. You literally, they said white tank top, black shorts, and they said that you had a beard. All right. So I'm not saying it's you. But it was a black male. Again, not saying it's you, buddy. Listen. Just bear with me, okay? Because you fit the description. I'm not saying you're guilty, but my sergeant's telling me to detain you. That's my sergeant.
I got you. I just had a daughter born 2 days ago, so I just have this online.
It's live?
I'm not trying.
Do you mind setting it down here?
Yeah.
Okay. Look, I'll place it for you, okay? Just for now, I'm gonna detain you. Look, you're not under arrest. I'm detaining you right now because you fit the description, okay? Just hang tight for me, okay, buddy?
Sounded like wrong place, wrong time, man.
That's what I was telling him. Literally, if he's free to go, if he's not the one, we'll cut him loose. Nothing's gonna happen to you. I'm gonna take care of you. I promise you that. We appreciate you being very cooperative. Other people would just.
I'm not trying to get shot over this.
If it would have been a white male, white tank top, black shorts, black shoes, we would have stopped the same person. That figured that let's say you were running down, the same thing would have happened. Not a thing would have changed. That's what I'm trying to do, man. Let's avoid that race car because it ain't here. All right. Let's slide this back. Sorry, I'm trying to. Oh, what? I don't have it. Let me tell you, this agency is very, very amazing, and there's serious consequences for racial discrimination here, okay? I promise you that. Our shit takes very seriously. We are not discriminating. You literally matched the description. We did a show up.
All right, we are black, right? So you see the sheriff of Volusia County, Florida, and the coasting of a jogger, which his name is Joseph Griffin, right? See this brother Joseph Griffin, seeing that had been minding his own business, and he was on his phone, according to what he had said. But we're going to have to look at this from what took place, right? And so what we see is that before the intervention of the police officer, it seems that Mr. Griffin was jogging through the neighborhood. I think it's called Deltona. And we see he is being accosted. Now, there's some definition that need to be understood when they, are approaching you, because they said there's a difference between being in custody and being detained. In this case, they say he was being detained by deputies who said that he fit a description of a man, according to reports, said that he was stealing a leaf blower. Let me say that again. According to Mr. Griffin, who was jogging through the neighborhood of Deltona when a deputy decided he wanted to intervene, detain him, and said that he fit the description of a man who was stealing a leaf blower from a nearby home. How much a leaf blower costs? So let's go into this, right? Because they said a description, right? And remember, that is the key thing to this whole reasoning for him being detained, right? He's being detained because, according, as you heard him say, that his chief told him to detain him, right? Now, you heard the officer on your own, out of his own mouth, said that you kind of fit the description. You know, he comes out right away. You're not in any trouble. When a black man is being accosted by police. Now, see, again, when I say window shopper, that is you who is white, you who is Asian, you who is something else other than being we. And there are other persuasions and ethnicities who understand from the perspective I'm talking about. But when police are accosting you, unless it's in a setting that is company related, entertainment, you know what I'm saying? Something that there's a possibility he's supposed to be there and you could see, so okay. But when you have been MYOB, minding your own business, and you get accosted by police officers, this is a situation that, again, is about rolling the dice. And then he wants to try to, appease you in some kind of way as if like you're not in trouble. Then why are you approaching me? The capacity of your profession is, when you're accosting somebody, there's an issue here, right? So right away, you're going to see that this brother, again, his name being Joseph Griffin, the minute that he was accosted by him, if you think that what I said is something to be, oh, Mr. Blows Your Mind, you're making that up. Well, let's go back and let's see the demeanor of the brother. Let's see how he was looking, right? You see that right there, that pose right there? Whatever his mindset was on prior to you intervening in him, he's in mode of what this is about, right? He's looking at what? You're not in any trouble. That's supposed to calm him down. But he's saying police are accosting him, and situations can happen where you can, again, am I an advocate on just saying that police are always constantly wrong? Or am I saying that in the situation, in the history that we as black men, and those, again, of you who are window shop, who think that somehow that you can just read statistics when we live the life, right? We're not the man, we're the mannequin, and you're the person on the outside. And history of our inception in this country and the duration thereof, we have seen many of our family members, whether right or wrong, and the results that can come from being accosted by police officers. The good, the bad, and the ugly, right? And so you see this brother, and you see his demeanor, you see how he has this non-threatening pose, right? But again, the situation in this situation can all really relies on the individual of the police officer. That's why it's a roll of the dice according to who's going to accost you, because you could get the wrong one, right? You could get the wrong one that's got an itch that he needs scratched, and you could be the culprit. So that's why you see the brother in the demeanor, in the state that you see in that pose, right? That's what you see, right? And so, he's going to tell him, after he's telling him that you're not in any trouble, there was a burglary that happened, right? He was like, really? Now, wait a minute. You're not in trouble, but you're going to come to me and talk about, well, there's a burglary that was in progress around here, but you're not in trouble. That's supposed to be reassuring and comforting to a black man. Police talking about there's a burglary. Obviously, you must be looking for a suspect, and somehow you intervene into me. I mean, if logically thinking, is that what you would not be looking at? Maybe just me just thinking that, right? And so the police officer, again, trying to say it in a way that, you kind of fit the description. What do you mean, kinda? What do you mean by kinda? You wouldn't have got out your vehicle to accost me if what you're now saying, what correlation with kinda in me? So somehow I'm fitting some kind of description is what I'm thinking, right? That's what you thinking. Like, wait a minute, this bug is trying to say that I got something to do with it, right? Right? And you know what this brother did right off the bat? Now, again, when you look at that pose he got, right? That pose right there is like, this is a individual who he ain't looking for trouble, right? He said he kind of behooved as like, wait a minute, what is this about? He's trying to, put himself, his spirit in a way that is not to be conflicting with you any manner. Because he said something that was important, that if you heard him when he said he just had a baby 2 days ago. Now, I'm not sure whether this is one to, again, trying to de-escalate you, right? As you came to him and said, you're not in trouble. He's trying to tell you, I'm a family man. I just got a baby. And what else did he say? Did y'all hear what he said? He said, I'm a vet. Let me say that again. Did you hear that, brother? After he said that he just 2 days, I just had a baby. And by the way, I'm a vet. Now, why would this brother be saying this? Now, again, a lot of you who are window shopping and you looking from the outside in and then always trying to tell us because statistically you get your pundits from your TV shows, you get everybody trying to give you charts. We're going to tell you right from the horse's mouth. Negroes and horses, again, according to what he said, the Willie Lynch letter that you tie us together. But the thing is this. So coming right out of the brother's mouth, you hear him say that because now what he has to do, it's a spiritual chess. I can't even say spiritual on both sides. I'm just going to say from his position, he has to try to spiritually try to induce you to let you know he is non-threatening. He is trying to be in compliance in no way, form, shape, and fashion. I'm a vet. I just got a baby. Right? Okay? So officer, you kind of fit the description. Right? And so he goes on talking about how he fits this description, and he says that the person that he's looking for has a white tank top, black shorts, and a beard. Let me say that again. He says the description of who the individual that they're looking for has a white tank top, black shorts, and a beard. Okay? According to what you see in that picture there. Got on a white shirt, tank top. He got on black shorts. And looked at him like a beard. Is that all you need to give in the description? What about height? What about possibly weight? Was there any other distinguishing things maybe about the footwear he got? Stay tuned. Stay tuned. So, so what does he do with the brother, right? So the brother, again, he goes in and he's like, okay, look, I'm going ahead. Let me do this. Now remember, he said something directly, but now he got to prove who he is. So what did he do? He didn't have to go in his pockets. Everything he had was in his hands. So he was already in preparation. Again, think about this. We as BADOS in this land, right? You remember there was an old commercial used to come on for those who've been around. There was a Carl Molden used to come on about the American Express car. Well, there was the model. What was the model to that? Never leave home without. Let me say that again. There was an old commercial for those who've been around a little bit. It used to be I think it was American Express car, but Carl Molden used to be like, never leave home without it. So even though he's on the way to do a jog, think about that. If you got a routine that you get up every day and you do something, and maybe he just got a new baby, maybe he's trying to hurt me get back, and then let's say subsequently he decided he forgot his damn wallet and he started running, oh damn, I don't got my wallet. But see, by not having, it's like it's like kind of like when a police officer, when he goes out on his duty, he makes sure he has his belt, gun, handcuffs, pepper spray, baton, gun, badge, uniform, right? So there are certain things that when we go out, there's certain things that you got to have maintenance and check before you leave, right? Otherwise, you could get caught out there and not have anything. And then now you going through a process, even though you may not even be guilty. But brother had what he needed to have. And so what you see him do, you see him present it, right? So go ahead, let the brother sit there, he presenting that. And right off, what is he showing? He's not giving you his license. What is he showing you? Remember when he said he was a vet? That ID you see in his hand is his military ID. Why is the brother trying to make sure this, He's trying to de-escalate him from his internal of whatever, again, remember, when police are cussing black men, it's a life-death situation. And the object of the chess game is for a black man, if you're not having, you're not really part of what he's talking about, I guess it's for you to make sure that you did everything to try to de-escalate him, right? Now, every day I was telling us that they always fearful of their life. So here you, as a police officer, you're fearful, but the person that you're coasting is even more fearful than you. Now, a lot of people got mad when they said that LeBron James was talking about that. And they were saying that, how could he say that he's fearful? You're a millionaire. You don't want. Then they put nigga on his fence when he first moved out there in California. Yeah, and that Brentwood, I think it was, he lived out something like that. But then they put that on this thing. And then there are people, it wasn't no big thing. Yeah? Really? Okay. So you see the brother here, Joseph Griffin, presents his, military ID to let you know, to de-escalate him, that look, I'm a good guy. I fought for this country. I'm a vet, right? And white people eat up that. That's patriotism of the utmost in their eyes when you go back and look at history. Let me tell y'all something. When you go back and you look in history, especially when you're talking about Civil War, right? They was giving them, for enlisting. They was getting, at that time, was a lot of money. So they would give them on enlisting, maybe they could get $20, $50, right? And a lot of them would get that money and desert, right? I don't want to talk about that part. A lot of them would get that money and wouldn't even want to enlist. They was AWOL, try to get away and don't want to say, but everybody's patriotic when it comes to being white with the flag and all that, right? They love saying that, but how many of them, and we've seen a lot of them that's even politicians, right, who found a way to get around the fact that when they were supposed to be drafted, they got somebody else to go in for them. Let me say that again. There's many of people who, again, they would like to use, like a matter of fact, I think right now there's something that's going on in this little war between something that said President Donald Trump has said that they call the veterans or those in the military as losers. And then now Joe Biden, he's trying to find every way not to talk to black folks. So now he's going to try to pander to those and patriotic and, hey, there's no loser, my son. And you understand? This old Pharisee fighting for old glory, right? Nothing wrong with that. But the problem is, from my perspective of me as a BADOS and what my people have contributed to these wars and to this country and what it's done built, it's not the same country. We haven't got the same benefits for that when you get there. And just sometimes you can be a vet, and sometimes this is what you'll be able to use your veteranism for, to try to de-escalate a situation as you see this brother here, Joseph Griffin, is doing. So he given that ID. But even with that being said, what happened? Huh? What did he do? Huh? Brother, showed ID. He put him in handcuffs, right? He put that brother in handcuffs. You put the wrong one there. You put the wrong one there, sir. Yeah. Put him in handcuffs. You didn't show that one. There you go. Put him in there. He had him in handcuffs, right? Had turned around and put the cuffs on him, right? Put the cuffs on him, right? Now, there's a reason for that, right? Because again, according to how they write these laws and stuff, this is actually part of the game, right? This is actually part of the game. Did y'all know that? This is part of the game. A lot of people, again, would think the fact that he's putting these cuffs on you, that he told you that you fit the description, and that, we're here to detain you. Well, according, I did a little research. We're seeing this individual who was a legal study from USAFA, right? And the question was posed is it legal for police to handcuff you if you are not yet placed under arrest, or if there is no evidence to justify an arrest, right? And according to what he had answered, he said that absolutely there is a difference between being in custody and under arrest. Let me say that again. There is a difference between being in custody and being under arrest, right? Now, he said accordingly with most police officers, and again, they will swear to that they all follow by the procedures and law, but sometimes we can understand in the heat of the moment that might not get done, right? But according to what he said that the protocols that you should do is they should say something along the lines of you are not under arrest, right? You know, because you start seeing that a lot of black men been watching a lot of white videos and seeing white folks out there talking about, am I being detained? Am I being detained? And then you'll see videos with black folks out there trying to do the same damn thing, and what it end up happening. Don't always go accordingly to the same video that you had watched to get that information from, right? But I'm not saying, but that's just how it is, right? We just have to be what it is. So what you see is he'll say you're not under arrest. You're being merely detained, right, for your safety and for his. And then he either have you stand there, sit down, and so forth, right? And so for the lay person who may not understand this, will think that the simple fact that when you put handcuffs, that you already implying that I'm arrested. Ain't that something? Look at this. You can put handcuffs on me because you're not certain, but somehow I've been described by description that may be who I am. And so it is within the realm of the game to put the cuffs on me, right? Because that don't necessarily mean that I'm in custody. These are two different words, meaning two different things. Right? Arrest, do they imply custody? No. They say they don't. So they say that now for the simple fact that you're being handcuffed means that you can't leave. Well, according to somebody got handcuffs on you, right? But how do you get to be lawfully put me in handcuffs if yet you're not sure as to who I am? It's just a formality that is part of the protocol. But see, doesn't that allow for certain situations where somebody who is deviant minded, being evil, using and hiding behind, to put you in that position and then come to find out that they're totally wrong, but something about you they just don't like. And so, may antagonize you and get them in a certain spirit. And then somehow something goes wrong. And that's why black men be feeling the way they be feeling when they're in these positions, right? That's why they feel that way. Now, according to what they say, that you can't leave. And then the question becomes, can the officer ask you questions? Now, there's the, Mirandizing, right? So he can't question you without Mirandizing you, right? Mirandizing you, right? Or Mirandizing you. I think that's how Mirandizing you, right? Okay, so anyway, so if he doesn't Mirandize you, then no, he can't question you. Now, these are the policies and rules and regulations that they say that everybody adheres to, but you can go through all that, and then what happens after the fact is none of that took place, but that doesn't mean that when people write the reports that they didn't say they did do all that, and then you say, no, they never did that, right? So it becomes your word versus their words, and they being police officers, so they more credible than you, and so now they within the protocol, but you just lied about it, right? And so accordingly, they say, if he does decide to question you and have not Mirandized your rights, they consider that to be custodial what's it? What is it? Interrogation, right? I think that's it. Interrogation was it? I think it's interrogation, right? Custodial interrogation. I think that's what it was. I think right. Custodial interrogation, and then you would need to be informed of your Miranda rights before being questioned. So that is where the law is when you in this situation is Mirandizing. If they don't state that and then say that, so you only being detained and questioned. But then once that's Mirandizing, you have the right to remain. Now that's something leading to somewhere else. Now, a lot of times when we be seeing these videos of these situations that be happening, I don't be hearing no Mirandizing, do you? I don't be hearing no Mirandizing, right? We just seeing action. Lights, camera, action, right? Okay. So what they saying really is, while you may be in custody, which simply means that you are not free to leave, you are not under arrest, which means that the officer has reasonable suspicion to believe that you have committed a crime and you're being detained for that crime. Now, wait a minute. You are suspected of doing a crime and being detained for that crime. But then, wait a minute, But then, okay, so when you put the cuffs on me, then you take the cuffs off, as you see what happened here. Put that one back up there, right? Where he take the cuffs off of them, right? They took the cuff off. They took the cuff off, and then he was talking about how he was on Facebook, right? He was live on Facebook, right? And then you see that the other officers end up arriving, right? So they said it was handcuffed. And then he took the cuffs off, and then here's the one, I guess, that the officer had told him, right, that, you know what I'm saying, he's the one that had him accost him. Now, of course, that's what they saying, right? All right, that's what he's saying. And so look how many police cars you see. See, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4. Oh, that shit look like all that is police. Now again, what did they say? That they was in search of a robbery or somebody stealing a damn leaf blower? I hate to see if it was a crime in progress. I mean, you need all that for a leaf blower? And this man ain't got no leaf blower in his hand. So wait a minute, did they steal the leaf blower? Or was it an attempt progress of stealing a leaf blower? I mean, man, this must be straight Mayberry. Ain't got nothing going on a one stoplight town because some action. Everybody trying to get involved because ain't nothing really going down, right? So anyway, that's what we see here. And so I went back and I remember looking at these reports, and I had looked at one local media reports. It had described that there was a black man wearing a white tank top, flip-flops, and a black hat that was later arrested. No, hold on, wait a minute. A tank top, flip-flops, and a black hat. Now, wait a minute. Why is there so much generalities in this description? They act as if like a person don't have a certain weight, a certain height, right? We even heard the police officer say he had a beard, right? Right? They say he had a beard too. So it's like, okay, you got all this going down, right? I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. Is he built the same way? Right? Is he built the same way? Is he the same height as the person you're looking for? All you had to be is black with a white tank top and black shorts, right? That's all you needed. You didn't need nothing else. Ain't that something? Right? But let me show you something that you didn't get to see. Let me show you who they actually was looking for. Huh? Y'all want to see this? Now you tell me what you see here, right? Let me show you who they was looking for. Huh? Would you say that individual that you see right there in that picture, that other brother right there, do he look like he fits the description of a white tank top? Is that a tank top he got on? Or is that a t-shirt he got on? Do he got on black shorts? Don't look black to me. Do he got a beard? Yeah, somewhere he got a goatee, he got something going on there, right? Is this the same? Is this who they looking for? Is that the same cat? Let's see. Wait, hold on. Get closer. Wait a minute. Look at a closer picture of the brother right there, right? Is that a tank top that brother got on? Do that brother got on black shorts, right? So this is mistaken identity. Oh, Mr. Blow Your Mind. Why? Come on now. You know wait a minute. Well, let's put them together then. Put them together then. Huh? Do that brother on the right there, and he got writing on he got heist on his shirt. The other brother over there got nothing. He ain't even got a tank top on. He ain't even got black shirts on. And they even talking about there was a damn flip-flops. So wait a minute. The descriptions don't have to, wait a minute. So when somebody is calling and thinking that eyewitness is something, don't you have to have some specifics to make sure that we're not just going to grab any damn body? Matter of fact, let me show you how potent and how sensitive and how there's two sides to this. Everybody remember when it was the damn Jesse Smollett situation, right? Everybody remember the Jesse Smollett situation, don't you? Right? So here it was, Jesse Smollett said that he went to Subway, got him a sandwich, and two white dudes with mega hats on said mega, called him, you know what I'm saying, some cigarettes, right? Fag is a cigarette, right? Okay, so he called him that, whooped him up, put a noose around his neck, right? The story got out, everybody heard it. It was happened to be the day in Chicago when it was like the Arctic cold came in with like 20 below zero. You understand? So there was a lot of suspect to this whole situation, and a lot of people were like, kind of a little suspect about it, right? The question becomes, what made white folks so angry about Jesse Smollett? Because up to that point, it was also some other situation that was going down. White people going through that whole fragility of mind because of a lot of shit that had been done, and they was dealing with that. And then Jesse was coming to pour more gasoline on the fire, and they was like, "Oh no, not again, not again! We're doing it again!" And so Jesse did pull the move, right? But what really pissed white folks off about the Jesse Smollett situation? What was it? You know what it really was about? Because the Chicago police, based on the vague description that Jesse Smollett gave, put them in the state of niggardism. Oh, let me say that again. The reason that white folks got so upset with Jesse Smollett is because that situation by him making that vague general description that there was white men with mega hats on, that if the police would have just went on an all PB, grabbing any white mug, again, it was cold as hell that night. I don't know how many you would have caught. But the fact is, if they would have went out there and grabbed up a white mug and put him through the rigmarole, and to come to find out what they still haven't determined, because Jesse been holding on there, the court system can't get him in there. So I'm trying to figure out, y'all think y'all know what really happened, but I ain't never seen nobody say something happened and then they say they reneged on it, and then you can't get them back in there to put. They got somebody got some power, or if somebody wasn't told the damn truth. But anyway, so that's what they was upset about. They was upset at the fact that the police could have grabbed up any white person who would have been like, "Hey, what you doing?" And he was like, "You're going to Jesse Smollett said you," and then end up getting killed, right? It could have happened, right? So white people were looking at that like it was a possibility that could have happened. So the same situation is what I'm sitting here talking about. How is it that you can give this vague ass description, and when you're looking at him, I don't think they're the same height, the height difference, the build difference. You know, he got hair. That one over there seemed like he kind of balding. He got on a t-shirt. He got on gray kind of long shorts, almost like pants. How did you say this? Right? And create a blessing that the situation did not manifest and turn something else. But the possibility is it could have, right? It could have. And that's where the whole aspect of why, we do what we do. And a lot of those who are white who are hearing this and y'all all upset because we talk about it. It's not that we sitting here to belittle the police department. We're just saying that you do have many of those who are sitting up in there who do a lot of things hiding behind who they are and using their job and position to do some of their dirty work. And because it don't just start with just those of us who are living today, that this has been going on for generations, to the fact that, let me show you something here. Matter of fact, let's take that break and go into that one, right? Do that and then go into that. Let's do this. Check this out and we'll be right back, y'all.
We have shooting after shooting after shooting in this country, and we talk about the Second Amendment, and I would like to have an uncomfortable moment with the Second Amendment. Maybe people in this room are familiar with this history. My jaws dropped when I read it. By the time the U.S. Constitution was ratified, hundreds of slave uprisings had occurred across the South, and in many areas, blacks outnumbered whites. The only way you keep a group of people who are more than the group of people you're in, the only way you keep them under control is by violence. It's with guns. State militias were used to both prevent and put down slave uprisings, and Sally Hayden, who wrote this book, says slavery can only exist in the context of a police state, and the enforcement of that police state was the explicit job of the state militias. This is what the state militias wore. And an uncomfortable truth is that modern day police departments had, as part of their formation, the history of state militias. I'm not saying that modern day police departments are slave catchers. There are other people who will say that. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is this is part of our history, and ignoring it and pretending that it doesn't exist doesn't make sense, because one of the things I'm going to ask you to think about is how information gets passed down from generation to generation to generation so that people understand how they can live in the world. One of the things I want you to think about is from the early 1800s, that badge to black and brown people meant power, it meant violence, and it meant death. So go to the history about what the
All right, we are black, right? So, as you heard in that little dissertation there, it was talking about how the history about, after all these shootings that we see, there's a history correlated in this that a lot of people are blind to and think that this is a figment of our imagination. The fact that when we look before the ratification of the Constitution, that again, if you're an avid watcher of this show here, we talked about that Dred Scott case of 1857 that originally started in 1846. That was a 10-year battle. And that's how the Supreme Court ended up stating that we as being DOS in this land could never be citizens, right? And then that whole history and so forth. But probably even before then is the history of what we talk about when we talk about police, right? And something he has said in there that I wanted to mental point for those who have ears that can hear. He has said, as you heard, that, you know, when you have violence, I think he said, what did he say? Violence He said, the way you keep that mass of people under control is by violence and guns, right? Making it like a police state. When they start outnumbering, this is what you do. Let me say that again. You heard him say that when you see violence and guns being used on a particular, let's say segment of people, is to keep them controlled because they start to outnumber. That census is not going to be accurate, right? We notice the 2020 census is being done, but we know that census is going to come back and going to read if we're still going to be 12, 13%. Think about that. Somebody been saying 12, 13% for a long time, right? And then we see the type of stuff that's happening out here on a constant, regular basis. And so we have to think that it's something he said, was there something to that? And then he talks about how the state militia is derived from the history when you talk about, again, the slave patrol. And how that badge in itself represented, and in the minds of we as BADOS, is power, violence, and death, right? You seen that face on that brother. You seen how that brother looked when that police officer came up on him. Was it not that's what he thought? Did he not see that, Is that what he not seen? Power, violence, and death? And that's why his body posture is the way it is, because he's being accosted, because all those things are entailed in everything that is being represented in the person who is talking to him, right? And so, like I said, there's a lot of people, and there's a lot of people who will not look at the fact of the history. But when you talk about the black codes, laws, and the pig laws, right? Pig laws. So as I was saying about the history and going back again, you got 1857, the Dred Scott situation, you got the Supreme Court doing this doing. You have the Union Army putting out an APB, if you can get up out of there and get into the Union Army, right? And then there was a max flood of migrations again and creating the contraband camps. And then Lincoln called himself emancipating, putting us in a stateless position, right? And then he gets assassinated. Andrew Johnson comes in, non-voids everything, gives a pardon to the Confederate South. They reestablish everything other than the fact that they haven't got back who was us, right? Didn't get us back, right? And so when they created these black code laws, right, this had allowed BADOS supposedly, now you got to remember that they created these black code laws to give us certain rights within what they created. Now, wait a minute. If you're talking about we were acclimated in and being emancipated and then it was the 13th, that was nonsense because they created them black code laws, right? And in the black code laws, you had it where it was legalizing the marriages of us, somewhat of the ownership of property, but we had limited access to the courts, right? And even though supposedly had some access to the court, we was denied the right to testify against white people. Let me say that again. Them black code laws, these were the ones that was giving us the so-called certain rights. Legalizing the way we could be married or have marriage, the so-called ownership of property, the limited access to the courts. And with that limited access, we were denied the rights to testify against whites. The deck has always been slanted, right? And then the wonder why people do so much that they do to us is because the way the game had been constructed, when did it ever change? Who made you change? Yeah, you make amendments here and there, but the foundation of the core of what it was written, this is also written in their heart's mind and their spirit, right? Regardless of what's being said, they're still holding on to that. It's kind of like, having having weddings and stuff on plantations and all that stuff, right? And so can you imagine that? what we were going through, all that process, and then try to go to the court to try to get some justice. You couldn't testify. You couldn't get nobody to testify for you on behalf of because it was white. Couldn't be on juries. Right? Said we could be on juries, but I mean, if you got limited access, who wanted to have you on there that they didn't? Again, according to what they said, with the Judge Taney said there was not a law that a white man had to uphold, that it was a person who was black, right? So accordingly, they say, when you look at history, you look at the fact that the codes were repealed in 1866 when they said the so-called Reconstruction began, right? Now, you know, it was a failed Reconstruction, right? It was failed because people don't uphold what they say. They told us one thing, then to allow us to be put in the position of the same person who you had in war with, and then you're gonna pardon them, acclimate them all back their property, and then you're gonna have his property that you confiscate or contraband, and then have them come back and talk about, we're gonna make you pay them, and wonder how we end up getting still stuck in that situation, and how the effects of that is still lingering to this day. But if we sit here talking about it, then there's a problem with you. How's the problem with you? And so we see that it ended up, when they created this, it was took those, again, they show us our Mount Rushmore of our ancestors who went into the political office, but then they start taking them out, right? Matter of fact, you ever gonna see that the movie, what was it called? What was that? That movie with the Ku Klux Klan in the beginning. It had us up in there in the White House eating pig feet and our feet all up. What was the name of that movie? The first blockbuster that ever was done and was played in the White House, huh? You write that down there, and somebody who's seen that, tell me what it is. I know what it is. I want to see if you know. And so what you had is you had the states. Because see, what happened was when Andrew Johnson actually non-void everything Lincoln did, he allowed those 13, 14, 15 amendments to be written by the same people that we took from, that we used to be part of. So they're the ones, that's why you end up getting inside written in there about being able, no slavery except if you go to jail. They the ones wrote that. Can you believe that? And I don't know if a lot of y'all even knew that. That the ones that were in the South, when they got pardoned, because Andrew Johnson pardoned the South. Remember, they made them treasonous for fighting against the country. He came in and he was a slave owner his damn self, but he was so-called loyal to the Republican Party, right? Or to the Union, I'll say. And so what happens is what? You're going to put us back in that situation. And here you was talking about you was supposed to be protecting us, and then you take the somewhat protection off and then leave us back down there. So when Lincoln had said he didn't care slavery and no slavery, he was just trying to save the Union, somehow they kind of actually trying to, put that back together, right? They did it, right? So what you've seen is that they started to enact these series of laws, and these laws were intended to circumscribe the lives of we as BADOS. So they created these so-called harsh contract laws that were penalizing anyone attempted to leave a job before in advance had been worked off. So if you had a contract and your contract said you had to be there for 2 years, kind of like, before we talk about, I was talking about Kurt Flood and how he negotiated with baseball so that he could get, what today a lot of people be able to use, being able to arbitrate and go to other places and stuff like that. It was because of him. But see, back then they created this to keep us as workers. And so this is systematic. This is legislatively, right? And so here it is. You made these contracts. And if we decide that based on the fact we didn't want to live there, so basically it's like you really put us back in slavery. A lot of people had I had to go back and think about it. When Kanye West had said that what Harriet Tubman did is really put you back in slavery. Because think about it. When we end up leaving out of the plantations, going to the north, getting into the Union armies. Then the Union wins, and then somehow we get back into those plantations in them areas, right? How we get back in there? And this is what been freedom, right? This is what been freedom, But we ain't supposed to talk about none of this, y'all. We ain't supposed to talk about this, right? And so if you try to leave, that would be a penalty because you leaving before the advancing of the contract, right? So then they created these pig laws, right? They were penalizing us for crimes such as stealing farm animals, right? And then they had vagrancy statutes and things like that, right? Because they made it a crime to be unemployed. Now, wait a minute. Think about this. You rigging the game in such a way that if I don't adhere to this way, you don't construct this way to try to keep me still in the condition and penalize me in such a way, and then you emancipate me, took the money that I would have gotten, because again, when you got taken and put into the Union Army, right? When you put me in the Union Army, you had to pay me, right? Because I hadn't been enlisted. Then y'all created the Freedmen Bank and collapsed that whole damn bank and bankrupted us from all the money that we had put into the Freedmen Bank, and they had robbed us from that too, right? So now here you is, we was sitting out there with no place. Then you had 1866 also was the Homestead Act, where you were supposed to have given us 80 acres. You everybody talking about the 40 acres and the mule. The reason why I get the 40 acres and the mule is because Andrew Johnson came in there and now avoid that. Then 1866 come, and then they said, well, okay, y'all can go get the Homestead Act. And then now they did like Joe Biden just said, talking about, well, we're going to talk about reparations. You got the Native Americans in there too. See, nothing straight for you. Nothing straight for you, right? So that's what you do. And so here we is with nothing. Free in a place that nobody got nowhere for you to go, and you creating a situation, and then you want to penalize them. Has that been what it is to this day? Is that same condition today? People with no employment, nowhere, constructed in designated areas to be living in poverty and poor environments conducive but by the slave patrol, and then either they're going to get the crumbs of somebody bringing drugs in there, or else they got to use crime in order for them to survive. And in that, they're going to use that to arrest you and put you in. You don't hear me, though. You don't hear me, though. Even back then, a misdemeanor or a trivial offense, they would treat that like a felony and put a hard sentence on you. Because you got to remember, 13, 14, 15 Amendment, when Andrew Johnson came in there, he allowed the Confederate South to reconstruct and write them laws of that 13, 14, 15 Amendment. That's why you see that has that little, what the hell is that? You can be slave if you go to jail. That's where that came from. Huh? That's where that came from. So when you talk about in Mississippi and the reconstruction of their government and putting these state legislators to revise the state criminal code, right? What they did, this is the slickness that they did. What they did is they created these new laws and they lowered the dollar threshold. What was considered at that time, they call it grand larceny, right? This was an offense that was punishable up to 5 years in prison, right? Now that used to be about $25. They dropped that $25 down to $10. You see what I'm saying? Lessen it, because we got these people who are out here emancipated, ain't got no home, got nowhere. We know their ass is hungry. You know what they're going to be trying to get? They're going to be trying to get some of them, they're going to be trying to steal some of them calves, them hogs and pigs and chicken and sheep and lamb and goat. So what we going to do, we're going to lessen it so that we can get them on this grand larceny, right? We're going to put them in this grand larceny. And in that, we're going to be in incarceration and give you a gang of time. And then we're going to use this gang of time, so we're going to be making building stuff in some of these prisons. But everybody looking at us like something wrong with us. Man. Well, we know you can't believe in the same thing that y'all say, that Bible that talks about a creator. You can't believe in that. You try to make the square peg in the round hole to seem to be like logical, right? You trying to make that logical, that reasoning that you're coming from to try to substantiate the position you in. I bet y'all do cry a lot when you see somebody in that box. You know, because see, I think a lot of them think that if we do what we do, and then according to the way that our people constructed and wrote them scriptures, that if we go to hell with Satan anyway, we already been legion to Satan anyway. But that's your people right now. You don't know what the Creator got. Huh? Let me say that again. Some people on that persuasion of ethnicity of people kind of probably, I believe they think that if I just be a goddamn, devil, Satan, motherfucker in this life, and so fuck it. You remember that day when I told him, he said, "Oh no, you black bastard." Remember that? Those who watched them shows, a couple shows back when I told you about that Shelley Winters, and when she said that when her son died, I think it was called The Baker Boys. I think that was the name of the movie. So God is black in their eyes, and they know God is black. So guess what? Then the person that is in opposition to God, that's the cat we gonna ride with, because naturally that God is gonna be against us, and we're gonna ride with the one that's against him. So we're gonna do all the shit to go against his damn people. And so guess what? When we had to go to hell, in the way that your people have right and said that it is, because everything, you better go back and look at everything that your damn people done said and find out that a lot of that shit is just a damn lie. You gonna find out ain't gonna be no Satan and no goddamn hell running no shit. What sense did that make? Think about that shit. I'm gonna put you and I'm gonna punish you and put you in a place and put all the bad niggas and put them and let you be the leader of the shit. No. You hoping that. I'm here to tell you it ain't gonna go down like that. Huh? It ain't gonna go down like that. Y'all crazy as hell if y'all think that shit. See, that's that square peg, round hole logic, right? All right. So here it was. They was creating these laws that was blatantly racist, targeting cattle and swine theft, stealing, and still to this day, the stereotypical consider stealing a black behavior. Because when you look back at that time when they made these pig laws, white folks was the one who owned predominantly all of the cattle and swine. And so here you was in Mississippi, you got no place to work that they gonna pay you, so you ain't got nowhere, you're hungry. So, but I know there's some chicken and some pig and some cow and some lamb and some goat and some bull over there around Master Holly's house. We gonna steal some of that shit. And so when they catch you, they gonna make you pay the big one. See, so you create the scenario and the conditions, and you leave a person with trying to do just natural human survival. He gonna do what he got to do to survive. So everybody like to quote: "A man don't eat, a man don't work, a man don't eat." Well, a man don't got a job to work to, a man still gotta eat, right? And so, just denying the basic civil liberties when you're talking about us being black. And from those times to this day, where we are right now, and you have a lot of people who supposed to be black who be in opposition to anything I just said and will deny the facts of what history has always laid. You know what happened with people like that? They got a question they got to ask themselves, right? That's the question they got to ask themselves.
What are you?
I'm black and beautiful.
What is your nationality?
My nationality is Afro-American.
Suppose I had some money in my pocket. Suppose I gave you $1 to say that you're an American Negro. This is money now. Money talks. Money talks. This dollar. And if you don't say it, you don't get it. You're an American Negro, aren't you?
No.
You won't have any money. You know you need money, don't you?
Yes.
You need money to live, don't you?
Yes.
All right. All you have to say, Leon, is that you're an American Negro. Aren't you an American Negro?
All right, we are back, right? So, that's the question a lot of them going to have to ask themselves. You have denied who you are and to be in cahoots with somebody who has always stacked the game against you. But you too got to stand before whatever you think that is the higher, greater power that rules and created all things. And when you come to find out that the people who you put so much trust and put all your eggs in done lied to you, what else can there be said? Nothing else to say. Well, that's my show for today, y'all. Again, I want to thank each and every one of you for clicking on the video here. Again, like, subscribe, comment, share, thumbs up this video, man, because, you know, they got me on the super deluxe shadow ban, because I am the voice that they do not want y'all to hear for some odd reason. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm talking about what is really just, it's common knowledge. I know it's not something that they teach, but it is common knowledge. And from a black perspective, right? For those who want to support a way for Black Minds News, I'm probably going over there. You might be subscribing. Go back and check and see if your subscription, unsubscribe, reascribe. Go to my other channel, Black Minds TV. That's BLAK, like you see on your screen, MINDZ. Change news to TV. Go over there and subscribe. Help this channel get up, because eventually we're going to get into some legal business over here. So, you know, I need you to go ahead and do this for me. Matter of fact, you know, send me some emails, let me know some things. Tell me if there's some funny stuff going on with you anyway, right? You're not getting no notifications every time you try to send a message or thumb up. Somehow it's not going through. Let a brother know, man. Don't y'all see I'm the most hated show on the black corner of the internet? Can't you see that every time when again, those who didn't go and click on the video, the one that got the age restriction, you got to ask yourself, how is it that a channel that's already, because you got to remember that they keep trying to change the game up. Like I said, rigging the game. You change the game in such a way and trying to make us jump through so many damn hoops, right? Make us jump through so many hoops. So they came in and said, okay, now if kids come over here and look at your video, we're going to penalize you. But what you can do is click on your channel is not for children. Okay, so if my channel says it's not for children, then how can you come and put an age restriction on my video? So you mean to tell me what is the age from a child, and then what part goes from that to adult? So this small segment where, again, I'm news. Ain't no young ones. So that tells you only doing that to suppress my voice. You who hear me better ask yourself, what is it that Mr. Blows Your Mind is talking about? What is it that the show is? Because really think about the construction of this show. If you've been watching for a long time and seeing, have you seen the development of what this show has as into the technological part? How smooth, huh? What happens? So anyway, you do that for me. Go over to Black Minds TV, subscribe, comment, share, like, and all that. Until the next show, y'all, peace, love. Until the next show, y'all, to the next show.